Jamie Duvall.
Hi, Mr. White. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well.
Let's talk about the special a little bit. It's being offered through your website, ronwhitespecial.com, and there are a variety of packages that you're offering, but your fans can see the brand new 80-minute special for as little as $5 there.
Yeah, that's the one I expect them to get. The other two I'm going to take down because I didn't do that. My managers did, and I'm like, that looks cheesy. But yeah, $5 is all it costs, and it's a way for me to, I do business straight with my fans and cut out all the things that are expenses, like packaging and the hard copy, and then Walmart's cut, then Universal Music's cut, and just it gets it in their hands, for a third the price.
Right. I mean, it passes on the savings to them. But do you find that because you touch upon this a little bit in your special, that the industry is changing a bit, and we see it in music too, that you really do have to consider different delivery options nowadays?
Yeah, I don't know how much longer the hard copy CDs got, but its days are numbered, I guarantee you that. But right now, Louis C.K. is the one that kind of started messing with the business model, and then I just thought it made sense, and I had this special already in the can before, and I was just looking for something to do with it, I just didn't like the money I was being offered from Comedy Central or anybody. They wanted to buy it, but they didn't want to pay what I wanted to get for it, so I thought, well, why don't I just sell it directly to the fans? And so that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Tell me how long it takes you to kind of assemble an 80-minute act like a little unprofessional.
3 years. Literally, I write the jokes one at a time, and I replace them one at a time. So I never let my show get longer than about 80 minutes. So, when it starts to drift past that, I just take stuff out. But I'm always putting it in one joke at a time, so it always stays strong. And it takes about 2 or 3 years before every joke from the previous album is gone. And so, that's so a lot of work goes into one of these things. And then I produce them myself, and had the camera crew come out and shoot it, and so there's some pretty expensive things in there.
Yeah. Well, when you release it in concert form for all to see, does that kind of make that act obsolete from that point on?
It doesn't. Well, yeah, the material's burned, I guess, and it depends. If somebody saw me do it once, they'll respond to it exactly the same probably the next 5 times they see it live. But if somebody watches something a lot, somebody buys this thing and then watches it over and over, like I used to do comedy albums. I would just play them over and over and over. I just love the sound of laughter, I guess. But if they're going to do that, then, it would seem pretty tired to come see me live. So until it gets, and I filmed this about 4 or 5 months ago, so the show's already different a little bit. But, if you plan on seeing me, if you have tickets to see me live in the very near future, just go see me live and then afterwards download it.
Well, it's interesting that you talk about the show being different now than it was 5 months ago when this was first shot, because it's kind of like live theater, which is what you're doing, and you're constantly refining based upon, what your audience responds to, I would think.
Yeah, well, if they don't respond to it, it doesn't stay in the show very long. That's for sure. Yeah, it is. It is more like a play than people realize, and even bits that were on this that I'm still doing, or now I've got these just great tags for them that I wish I would have had back when I put it on. So there'll be subtle differences, and then within another 6 months you'll have a big chunk of new stuff. So I tour a lot, and that's my main income. So I don't want to discourage people from coming to see the show. But,
no. I mean, you do play a lot of dates, and you were actually in my neck of the woods in Florida not too long ago, and I went to see you, and you were hysterical as always. But tell me about the playing all over the U.S. Do do the different regions of the U.S., do they kind of respond differently? I mean, are you playing to different audiences, or is funny universal?
They respond to it exactly the same thing. Where it's a human condition that we're in, that and it's if you gotta get up and do something that you don't want to do, you have the same human condition as most of the people that live in this country. So they respond, they laugh at the same thing in Macon, Georgia as they do in Seattle, Washington, and the exact same thing. It's a little different in Manhattan because their reality is so much different, and which is where I'm at right now, by the way. And but when I play Radio City, it's great. And but if I do little clubs, around town, they're waiting for a Subway joke, and I don't have any.
Yeah. Well, you talk a little bit about your humble beginnings in the new special, and it got me to thinking. Now you've met with this incredible success. I mean, you're living your dream. What was the biggest adjustment for you when success hit?
Well, number one, it was fun to be validated. Sometimes people just need to be validated. And after I'd been doing stand-up 16 years without a lot of brouhaha going on about it, and so then when it did hit, it was just fun. I mean, I'd wake up every day and think about it, and it would make me laugh. That now all of a sudden I'm selling out theaters. My money just went up 50 times what it was, and so all of a sudden, I can do whatever I want and go wherever I want, any style I want. That was just, for somebody that was born in a little white clapboard home in a town with dirt streets to this day. It's a once, it's something that doesn't happen very often. And anybody that's getting into comedy now, you need to be resigned to do it as a hobby. And if that's fun enough, then you should keep doing it. But if you see guys like me or Foxworthy or Chris Rock or or whoever, if you think you're going to get there, you're not, for sure. If that's even a goal, it ain't going to work.
Well, you had I'm sure that you felt that this was something that you couldn't do anything else. This was your passion in life.
Oh yeah, this is the first time I walked on stage. I've got my brain's not normal, and and I don't think a lot of comics' brains are normal. But mine's really not. It's very much functional. It's ADD. I have 2 learning disabilities, but my brain has really high end peaks, but I have these low end rattles that aren't very good at all. And but as soon as I got on stage, I knew that this was home. That this is this is what I was meant to do. And they say you find it. Well, I found it at 29. That's when I started doing it. And that's 27 years that I've been doing stand up. Seems like yesterday.
Yeah, I think I read where you said that 2 great influences for you were Hicks and Kinison.
Well, Hicks more than Kinison. Kinison taught all comics something. He taught you that the crowd can genuinely not like you, and you can still make them laugh, which was a big step, because before you had Don Rickles, but that was pretend stuff. They can genuinely hate you, and you can still control their, how they respond. And so I think that influenced Hicks quite a bit, and because Hicks came up as a very, very young comic around Kinison in Houston. Hicks influenced me more because of my, I suppose because my style is just like his. I'm not near as good a writer or comic, but I do conversational, first person stuff. So so that's that, I would say that's my biggest single influence. But I'm sure I was influenced by everybody because I just bought all those albums when I was a kid and from the 60s and 70s, and I just I had Steve Martin stuff. I remember taking it all around town, just playing it for people because I've been taking credit for how good it is, And,
yeah. Well, people like Hicks and Carlin and those are real. I mean, they really kind of weren't afraid to step over the line. I mean, if a line even existed for them, there was a dangerous element to their comedy. I mean, is that something that you like to incorporate, that element?
Oh, I don't think I'm as dark and twisted as Carlin or Hicks, and which is fine. That's okay. My comedy is different, but I don't. I don't do anything except for the sake of the show. My only goal is to make you laugh, but not just to make you laugh, but make you laugh as hard as you can laugh, and for as long as you can laugh. So everything in my show is just geared towards that. And Hicks wasn't that way. He wanted to make you think. He wanted to make a point, and I haven't made a point in 25 years.
Well, I think that we laugh at your act because we relate to everything you say. So I mean that's the point. You're telling stories that we can all relate to.
Well, that when you start dealing in the truth, it has a ring to it, like they say. It has a ring of truth. You can tell it's true, and so it's. I think that's maybe why I relate to the fans so well, and because I try to just be me. I mean, when I'm on stage, I try to be me. When I come off stage, I'm the same person. I don't have a persona. So I really do drink and smoke, and cuss. So it's not that is my act, but it's when I try to just be true to my nature, and that's probably the only common denominator of all comics that have been hugely successful is they were true to their nature. That's whether it was Kinnison or Hicks or Pryor or Cosby or Foxworthy or whoever.
Yeah.
That's who they are, and it's Foxworthy goes to church every Sunday and has a Bible thing. That's who he is. He can do his act in a saloon or a church, and it gets the same response, and that's just brilliance. I can't do it. They'd boo me right out of the church.
But you've shared the stage. You mentioned Mr. Foxworthy. I mean, you shared the stage with other great comedians, and so I would imagine that there's a great sense of camaraderie between you and your colleagues. But is there also a sense of competition amongst you?
Not at all. Not at all. I've always been thrilled with anybody's success in comedy, and always. And I watched Jeff blow up right next to me, and I even when that happened, I didn't think it would ever happen to me. But I just cheered Jeff on. I thought it was fantastic, and I really don't. I know comedy at this level is not very competitive. I mean, I don't think so. I don't feel. I mean, Larry the Cable Guy always did twice the business I did. I mean, he was huge. And but I was doing great business. He was just doing more, and I applauded it. I'm like, great, dude, way to go, keep going. He was pulling in $30 million a year for a while, and
wow.
So I certainly wasn't doing that.
But if you share a stage with those guys, as you did with the Blue Collar tour, I mean, you can see one of them go up and absolutely kill. I mean, that has to raise the stakes for you when it's your time.
Oh yeah, no, you want to bring it too.
Yeah.
And everybody did. It was Jeff's job was the hardest because he had to follow all three of us, and he did it every night with ease. And but yeah, no, we weren't setting each other up. We were trying to dig a hole. That's true, but but it couldn't be done. Number one, I can't bury anybody in 10 minutes, and that's all I did for the most of that tour was 10 minutes up front. And then Dan would do 10 minutes, then Bill would do 35, and Jeff would do 50. And
wow.
So it's really hard to bury somebody in 10 minutes. And I never did it. Can't bury Larry the Cable Guy anyway, or Bill. Bill's just a fine comedian, and Foxworthy, he's probably the most prolific writer in comedy. I mean, I know he sold more albums than Pryor and Cosby combined.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I want to ask you about your movie work, because you've actually appeared in a few movies.
Yeah.
And including Billy Bob's latest, right? You're in that one.
Yeah, that's the one I'm proud of. Sex and the City 2, I was in for 3 minutes, and one of the worst movies ever. And to me, and right. I'm not saying that the chicks didn't dig it. They may have, but I said I went through the debut of the thing at Radio City Music Hall, which is about half a block from where I am right now. And I headlined their room, so by myself, and so they had the premiere there, and it was just awful. They had Diet Coke and stale popcorn. We were in the theater for 2 hours because they said the red carpet was at 6, but this is a movie thing, so I'm not on movie people's radar at all. So Margot, my wife, who's one of the best singers in the world, and I'm one of the top comics. We walked through the red carpet, and hardly anybody even took a picture there, and nobody else showed up at 6, which is what time, because they know that it's not 6. So we just walked through it and went in and sat down, got our Diet Coke and stale popcorn, and thought, well, it'll probably start in a half an hour. Started 2 hours later, and I thought, well, it'll probably be an hour and a half long. No, it was 2 hours and 35 minutes long. And then everybody had to make a speech, and my part in this movie is really kind of towards the front. And after that came on, I asked Margaret, I was like, why don't we just go? And she goes, Ron, you can't go. They just said your name on stage. You're at Radio City Music Hall. You hush up. And so we sat through it, and then they had a really good after party, but good Lord, that was long. The other one was Horrible Bosses, which is also a New Line Cinema movie, so same people. They just call. They know if it fits my touring schedule, I'll and I like it, I'll do it, and cheap too, which is what they like. And then Billy Bob Thornton, I met him at a bar one night in Austin, Texas, and we ended up just hitting it off, and he told me that he was writing a movie, and he was going to write a part for me in it. And I said, okay. And about a year later, I guess, or I don't know, 8 months later, he called and he said, hey, man, that script is written. You want to look at it? Wow, that's weird. Because most people in Hollywood, they'll tell you they're going to do something. They don't ever do it. And Billy he didn't make a big promise. He just said he was going to do it, and he did it. And so he wrote this part for me. I play this 2-time Pro Bowler from Atlanta that has 6 car dealerships, new and used, and can't quit talking about himself. And it's a wonderful role, and it's a great cast too. It's got Robert Duvall, John Hurt, Kevin Bacon, Robert Patrick.
Wow. Yeah, it's got tons of great people in it. So that's a good prestige project to be part of.
Yeah.